Everyone, take a moment, close your eyes if you need to, and feel where you are right now, not just in this room but in your life. The truth is, you're not here by accident, nothing is random. There's a divine intelligence that beats your heart, breathes your lungs, and aligns the stars in the sky. And that same intelligence is constantly trying to get your attention, especially before something extraordinary is about to happen in your life. God always sends signs before a breakthrough. The question is, are we awake enough to notice them? These signs don't come as thunder and lightning. They're subtle. They whisper, they nudge, they pull. They show up as restlessness, as discomfort, as a longing for something more. They show up as synchronicities, those seemingly random events that carry messages just for you. Maybe it's the same phrase showing up in different places. A dream you can't shake. A conversation you overhear that seems tailor-made for your situation. And then there's the inner friction, the tension between who you've been and who you're becoming, that pressure. That's not punishment, that's preparation. Just like a seed cracks before it grows, your old self must fall apart before the new self can emerge. And God in His infinite wisdom allows this breaking not to harm you, but to shape you. You are never abandoned in the waiting, you are being aligned. Now, let's talk about energy. Every thought you think creates a signal. Every emotion you feel broadcasts a frequency. When your thoughts and emotions are rooted in fear, worry, or doubt, you send out a signal of resistance. But when you shift into trust, gratitude, and expectancy, you begin to align with the frequency of breakthrough. That's not just spiritual theory, it's biology. Your brain rewires itself based on your focus. Your heart emits a magnetic field that responds to your feelings. When you feel as if the breakthrough is already happening, your body begins to live in that future reality. And guess what? The universe has no choice but to match it. But the signs will always come first. They might come as closed doors, relationships ending, opportunities drying up. That's not rejection, it's redirection. Sometimes the sign is a divine dissatisfaction, where everything you used to tolerate suddenly becomes unbearable. That's your soul waking up. That's God whispering, it's time. The moment you stop fighting the signs and start following them, the breakthrough accelerates. That's when miracles become natural. That's when time bends. That's when what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Because God never prepares you for something small. He stretches you, empties you, and then fills you with a vision that is too big for your current self. Why? So that you are forced to grow into the person capable of holding it. So tonight, I want to leave you with this. Don't curse the waiting, honor it. Don't fear the breaking, trust it. Don't ignore the signs. Follow them. The signs are not the end. They are the beginning. They are sacred signals from a God who loves you too much to let you stay the same. The breakthrough is not coming someday. It's already begun. God always sends signs before a breakthrough. These signs are not always dramatic or obvious. More often, they're subtle shifts in your environment, your thoughts, your emotions, and your relationships. They're the quiet whispers that suggest something is about to change, even if you can't yet see how. You might notice an unexplainable sense of urgency, a feeling that you're meant for more, or a discomfort with the life you've grown used to. These aren't random sensations. They're signals from a higher intelligence nudging you out of complacency and into alignment with your next level. When you begin to feel misaligned with things that once felt normal, your job, your relationships, even your own thoughts, it's not because you're falling apart. It's because your current self is outgrowing its shell. Just as a caterpillar must dissolve to become a butterfly, your breakthrough requires the disintegration of the old. The signs often come wrapped in resistance, confusion, or even pain. But these emotions are not barriers, they are messengers. Life starts to speak in symbols, patterns, and divine nudges. You might hear the same message in a podcast, in a song, in a conversation, or in a dream. Repetition is not a coincidence, it's confirmation. When you ignore these signs, you often feel stuck or restless. But when you acknowledge them, your perception sharpens, your awareness expands, and you begin to see the unfolding path that was always there, hidden in plain sight. Most people overlook the signs because they're waiting for clarity to come in the form of certainty. But divine guidance rarely comes all at once. It comes as fragments, like breadcrumbs, leading you step by step into the unknown. The signs before a breakthrough don't shout. They invite, they call you to trust. Discomfort is often divine preparation, not punishment. When we experience inner tension, frustration, or unease, our first instinct is to resist it. We label it as something wrong, something to fix or escape. But what if that discomfort is actually a signal that something sacred is shifting within us? Just like the earth trembles before it breaks open to release new life, the soul stirs before a breakthrough. That stirring often feels like pressure, confusion, or emotional discomfort. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're on the verge of becoming someone new. Growth doesn't begin in clarity, it begins in disruption. The comfort zone, while familiar, is not where transformation occurs. So when God is preparing you for something greater, He often removes your ability to feel settled in the life that once fit you. You may start feeling disconnected from what you used to love. Conversations feel hollow, routines lose meaning, and a quiet dissatisfaction begins to rise. This is not regression, it's realignment. You are being internally rearranged to hold more truth, more vision, more capacity. Discomfort stretches the emotional, mental, and spiritual muscles that comfort leaves untouched. It creates the space necessary for expansion. In this sacred tension, we are being taught to let go of what no longer serves us. The habits, thoughts, and attachments that were once useful become heavy. The deeper part of you starts to recognize that staying the same is now more painful than the risk of changing. That realization is divine. This is preparation disguised as struggle. It is God building endurance, trust, and resilience in you, not as punishment, but as process. The discomfort isn't a detour. It is often the clearest indication that something bigger, something truer, is being born through you. Synchronicities are spiritual signals, not coincidences. They are the quiet confirmations from the divine that you are on the edge of something meaningful, something that transcends logic. These moments often appear random on the surface. Seeing repeating numbers, hearing the same phrase in different places, encountering someone who says exactly what you needed to hear without knowing your situation. But beneath the surface, these are the fingerprints of a greater intelligence guiding your path, gently revealing that the invisible is just as real as the visible. When you begin to wake up to the idea that your life is not just a series of random events, but a divinely orchestrated unfolding, synchronicities become a language. They are the way God or the universe whispers, "Pay attention, this matters." They come in moments of alignment when your internal state, your thoughts, feelings, and intentions, match a deeper spiritual rhythm. And when this alignment occurs, reality responds. The people, places, and opportunities you need begin to show up, not because you forced them, but because you attuned yourself to their frequency. Most people dismiss synchronicities as chance because they're too subtle, too soft to demand attention. But the spiritually awake see them for what they are, signs that you are not alone, that you are seen, and that the divine is in motion on your behalf. They often increase right before a major shift, signaling that you're close, that breakthrough is near, and that your energy is drawing it in. They offer reassurance in moments of doubt and clarity in times of confusion. To recognize them is to affirm that you are part of something vast and intelligent. Synchronicities aren't magic, they are alignment. And the more you notice them, the more frequently they appear, building a bridge between your current reality and your highest potential. Inner restlessness is a call to transformation. It's that quiet, persistent feeling that something isn't right anymore, not because everything around you is falling apart, but because your soul is expanding beyond the life you've been living. You might still be functioning, showing up, doing the same routines, but deep inside there's a low hum of discomfort, a knowing that you can't ignore. This restlessness doesn't come to punish or confuse you. It's the soul's way of getting your attention, signaling that you're being called into a new chapter, a higher version of yourself. At first, it might feel like boredom, fatigue, or even sadness. What once inspired you now feels flat. What once gave you security now feels confining. These are not signs of failure. They are signs of growth. When the soul begins to evolve, it stretches beyond the familiar, and the container of your current life starts to feel too small. Just like a snake sheds its skin to allow for growth, you are being invited to release the version of yourself that was only meant to carry you this far. Restlessness shows up when the timeline you've outgrown can no longer contain the vision of who you're becoming. It pushes you to ask deeper questions, to seek something more aligned, more authentic, more alive. It's not a signal to rush into action, but an invitation to listen, to pay attention to the spaces in your life where you're merely surviving instead of truly living. Transformation doesn't usually begin with clarity. It begins with discontent. And when you stop numbing the restlessness and start honoring it, you begin to see it for what it truly is, a divine invitation to step into the unknown, where the breakthrough you've been waiting for is already waiting for you to arrive. Breakdowns often precede breakthroughs. It's a pattern woven into the very structure of transformation. When life feels like it's unraveling, when plans collapse, emotions intensify, and everything stable begins to shake, it's easy to assume you're falling apart. But in truth, something deeper is falling into place. The breakdown isn't the end, it's the clearing. It's the necessary dismantling of beliefs, identities, and attachments that no longer serve your evolution. The pain, the confusion, the loss, they are not obstacles on the path, they are the path. Breakdowns strip away what's false. They pull apart the stories we've told ourselves, the masks we've worn, and the illusions we've clung to. And while it can feel chaotic and even cruel, this disruption is often divinely timed. Before the breakthrough can arrive, the space must be made. And sometimes the only way space is created is through the collapse of what is no longer aligned. You weren't meant to carry outdated versions of yourself into your next season, and so life intervenes, not to punish you, but to liberate you. In these moments, it's not uncommon to feel lost, but being lost is sometimes the only way to find a new direction. The mind may panic, trying to hold on to the familiar, but the soul knows that the destruction is sacred. Every breakdown carries the seed of expansion, the moment when control is surrendered and something higher begins to take the lead. It's the divine invitation to stop managing and start trusting, to stop striving and start listening, because the greatest awakenings often emerge not from peace, but from pressure. And in that pressure, the false self shatters so the true self can emerge clearer, stronger, and more aligned with the purpose that has been waiting all along. Your energy aligns with your future reality. Everything in the universe operates on frequency, including your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. What you consistently focus on, feel, and expect creates a vibrational signature that shapes your experience. You are not just a passive observer of life. You are a transmitter. The energy you radiate informs the energy you attract. This isn't abstract theory. It's the science of resonance. Just as a tuning fork vibrates in harmony with another of the same frequency, your inner state harmonizes with experiences that match it. When you dwell in fear, scarcity, or self-doubt, your energy contracts. You begin to resonate with limitations, missed opportunities, and cycles that repeat old patterns. But when you shift into emotions like gratitude, joy, and trust, even before the breakthrough arrives, you begin to signal to life that you are ready to receive something new. This is not about pretending or faking positivity. It's about choosing alignment over resistance. It's about feeling your future into the now so that your body, mind, and spirit can begin to experience it before it physically arrives. The moment you begin to emotionally inhabit the future you desire, you change the electromagnetic field around you, and the universe, governed by laws far more precise than chance, responds. People begin to show up. Doors begin to open. The timing of events starts to accelerate. This isn't magic, it's coherence. Your energy becomes a clear signal instead of a scattered one, and that clarity calls in what belongs to you. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. The energy you embody becomes the architecture of your reality, drawing in situations, relationships, and opportunities that match your inner state. The breakthrough doesn't begin when the circumstances change. It begins the moment your energy does. Closed doors are redirections, not rejections. When something doesn't work out the way you hoped, when the job doesn't come through, the relationship ends, or the opportunity suddenly disappears, it's natural to feel disappointment, even grief. But what looks like denial is often divine protection. What feels like failure is frequently the rearranging of your path to guide you towards something more aligned, more purposeful, more powerful than what you were originally reaching for. It's easy to trust when things go according to plan, but the real transformation happens when they don't. Every closed door is a message that what's behind it no longer serves your becoming. It's a sacred interruption, designed not to break you but to break you open. Often, the things we want are based on the level of awareness we currently have, not the one we're growing into. So when a door shuts, it may not mean you weren't worthy. It may mean your vision was too small. In hindsight, we often see that the very things we once cried over were the gateways to something far greater. It takes spiritual maturity to see rejection as redirection, to stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" Closed doors strip away illusion. They call us back to trust. They remind us that control is not the same as clarity, and that surrender often leads us to places effort never could. Sometimes the fastest way to your breakthrough is the route you never would have chosen on your own. The path may feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, but it is laced with purpose. The delay, the detour, the disappointment, they all carry direction. Closed doors are not endings, they are course corrections wrapped in mystery. Gratitude and trust activate divine alignment. When you begin to feel grateful not just for what you have, but for what is on its way, even when it hasn't yet arrived, you shift the entire frequency of your life. Gratitude is not just a response, it's a spiritual technology. It moves you from lack into abundance, from fear into faith, from resistance into flow. It says to the universe, "I recognize the good even before I see it." That recognition creates alignment. It brings your heart and mind into harmony with the life you are meant to live, not just the one you've settled for. Trust works alongside gratitude like the breath to the body. It's what allows you to keep moving when the road is uncertain. Trust says, "Even though I can't see the outcome, I believe there is purpose in the process." It's not blind optimism, it's anchored knowing. When you embody trust, you stop forcing outcomes and start aligning with timing. You release the need to control, and in doing so, you create space for something greater to unfold. You stop measuring your progress by what is visible and instead lean into what is becoming. Together, gratitude and trust become a powerful current that pulls you forward. They keep your energy coherent and focused. They prevent your thoughts from spiraling into doubt and delay. The more you feel them, the more you attract situations, relationships, and insights that match that vibration. They open your spiritual senses so you can recognize divine opportunities that logic alone would overlook. They turn waiting into preparation and uncertainty into sacred space. Alignment doesn't begin with action. It begins with the energy behind the action. Gratitude and trust are not emotions you wait to feel. They are postures you choose to embody regardless of circumstances. God stretches you to fit the size of your calling. Growth is not accidental, it is intentional and often uncomfortable. When you are preparing for a breakthrough, the universe expands your capacity before it expands your reality. This means that you will be tested, challenged, and stretched in ways that feel unfamiliar or even overwhelming. It's like preparing a vessel to carry a greater flow of energy, wisdom, and opportunity. Without this stretching, the breakthrough you seek would overwhelm you, because your current self is not yet equipped to handle it. This stretching can come in many forms: emotional trials, difficult decisions, moments of doubt, or the necessity to release old beliefs and habits. Each challenge is designed to build resilience, deepen your faith, and expand your vision. It forces you to step outside your comfort zone and move beyond the limitations you once accepted as truths. The process may feel like pressure, but pressure creates diamonds. It is refining you, purifying your focus, and sharpening your intention. When you feel stretched, it's a sign that you're growing into the next phase of your journey. You may not yet see the full picture, but every moment of discomfort is a signal that your potential is increasing. God does not give you more than you can handle, but He does give you exactly what you need to grow into who you are meant to be. This growth is not linear. It can be messy and unpredictable, but it is always purposeful. The stretch stretches your mindset, expands your heart, and awakens new strengths you didn't know you had. It prepares you to receive your breakthrough with grace and wisdom, rather than overwhelm or fear. The expansion is happening beneath the surface, even if your circumstances haven't yet changed. You are being formed to hold more, to give more, and to become more. The signs are not the end, they are the beginning. Often, when we encounter difficulties, setbacks, or moments of confusion, we interpret them as the conclusion of our hopes or dreams. But these signs are not the final chapter. They are the prologue to a new story. They signal the closing of one door and the opening of another, marking the threshold where transformation begins. What may feel like a stopping point is actually a starting line, an invitation to step into a larger version of yourself and your life. These signs serve as a divine checkpoint, a moment to pause and realign. They ask you to release old patterns, beliefs, and identities that no longer serve your highest good. They invite you to deepen your awareness and prepare your mind and heart for what's next. Rather than resisting or fearing these moments, embracing them allows you to engage fully with the process of becoming. It's in this space between what was and what will be that the real work of transformation happens. When you recognize signs as beginnings, you shift your relationship to struggle and uncertainty. Instead of feeling stuck or defeated, you start to see potential and possibility. This mindset opens you to new perspectives, fresh ideas, and unseen opportunities. It creates fertile ground for inspiration and innovation to take root. The signs are not interruptions, they are integral parts of the journey, the necessary transitions that lead you closer to your breakthrough. Understanding this changes how you navigate life's challenges. You stop waiting for the perfect moment or the clear answer, and instead learn to trust the unfolding process. You realize that every sign, no matter how confusing or difficult, is a sacred invitation to move forward with faith and courage. The journey is not about avoiding struggle, but about using it as a catalyst for growth and awakening.